Hey guys, sorry about the late start. The taxi of mom is always going to be going no matter what. So that is what is going on right now, but we are going to pull up where we left off. I'm going to be able to talk one of these days. I really will. Yep. So we are going to pull that up. We are going to try to finish at least day 3 of the good morning everyone. When you have your, cell phone earbud in and your computer earbud in, and you're like, "Ooh, now I kinda wanna" they're doing a JC Wasco. Look, I am always looking for the next, you know, person the next crazy person, channel slash trial. Thanks. Yeah, I'm gonna try the curly girl method when I have time, so that might be in 4 to 5 years, because there seems to be a lot of maintenance that goes on in that junk, and, uh, oddly enough, having, children, you think you have this time, but you don't. Okay, where I'm looking for the other day. Also, librarian lady is has ticked me the heck. Don't like librarian, thank you, morning. Yeah, I am beginning to deeply dislike, librarian lady. You always have that one piece of hair that just cannot decide if it's gonna part or not or nothing, 'cause it's just, it's decided to pick in the middle. So let me get this all set up for you guys. Yeah, it has been already a day, but I am sort of keeping to a schedule, which, for me is I'm a doing things. All right. So thank you guys for the hair stuff. Uh, yeah, the lady prosecutor is, and I hate to say this, but she rubs me the wrong way, and I hate to say that with this crowd. But we will be doing this on 1.25. Hopefully, we will get the rest of this particular, day's testimony done before I have to go to the doctor, and then once I come back from the doctor, we will be doing, you know, 1.25 to try to catch up. So, that will change church lady schedule. I am going to be doing that Friday, and I'm also going to be taking Mad's advice from last night, and I will be Amazon Googling, a wig that I can just wear because I do pinup styles, and let me tell you, the amount of letting your hair set in curlers to do kind of the wash and pinup curl kinda tuck under thing, it's all the works. So, now I have seen on other, I guess, sites on the Discord that people were not taking, this guy at face value, or they seem to think that he is lying, and I don't know because everyone that I associate with, the cool people, seem to think he's genuine. So, let's get back into this.
Inside, so I think Riley is home.
And what did you do with that information?
I told him if he would be willing to stay there and just keep an eye on the place, and then I would let law enforcement know that they were home. And if they left, I asked Jeff to stay there until law enforcement arrived.
When they left, you mean if law enforcement had left?
No, if Riley and Ashton left.
Okay. And you wanted Jeff to do what with that?
Report to law enforcement where they were. He actually pulled his truck into the driveway, so the vehicle in the driveway couldn't leave. Or he'd have to move his vehicle to let them leave. And so then law enforcement arrived and he left.
And Jeff left?
After law enforcement arrived, yep.
And at some point, did you text Jeff Larson about following
Hey,
Riley and
Lefty.
Ashton if they left?
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that their location was known so that if law enforcement was on the way, they could find them, contact them, question them.
And why were you hoping law enforcement would contact them and question them?
Well, because we had some evidence to show that they were involved in the burglary and stealing of the animals. I wanted to find out the location of the animals, and I figured if law enforcement questioned them, they would find out where the animals were being kept.
Law enforcement hopefully could use that information you had been able to provide.
Hey,
Exactly.
Lefty.
And
Yeah, 5 came way too early this morning.
did you text Jeff about leaving your house?
I did.
Oh, Sal.
And when you texted him, I don't know if you can see, we wrote up on the board the other day that Bill on his way. Do you remember that testimony?
I do.
And was that because a text message was sent by you?
Yes, I sent a message to Jeff Larson letting him know I was on my way to town.
Okay. Can we coin the term kidult? Because I feel like a lot of these like 20-year-old kids, no, I'm sorry. You are a kidult. Maybe we can make that distinction, because there's a big distinction if he had gone down to 12, if the kid was 12 and he was like a tussling with him. But he was a kidult. I mean, he's got the body of an adult and the brain of a kid. No, it is not. He was an innocent boy
When
off
did
to
you send that
church.
message?
When I was leaving to go to town.
So at 8:53 and 54 seconds PM, Bill on his way, that was when you left East Road?
I was driving, probably down my driveway and getting onto East Road. Yep.
And where initially were you headed?
I was going to
It
Mill
is.
Street, to where Jeff was.
In the city of Opaka?
Correct.
So I just added into town. You were heading into town into Opaka.
Correct.
Did you ever make it to Mill Street?
No, I did not.
Why not?
I received a call from the law enforcement dispatch center, letting me know that the officers they were there and they didn't want me to go to Mill Street.
I'm gonna hand you what's been marked exhibit number 15. And we had
Lefty, when you get up at 5, this is mid-morning to you.
some testimony that was your phone call log, right?
Yes, that's correct.
I want you to direct your attention to call number 10. Can you indicate what time that call was made?
It appears it was at 8:57 and 32 seconds PM.
8:57 and 32 seconds.
That's correct.
And is that the phone call you were referencing that you got a call from law enforcement?
Yeah, that call.
Okay, so I think Law and C-Word, if you watch enough of them, I mean, you are definitely used to defenses that just roll over. No, he needs a gravelly voice. Well, I didn't read those particular books because they looked, well, everyone else read them. And the amount of women with cat sweatshirts that I saw buying that, it just reminded me of my mom, and I'm perfectly fine to think that my mom never read that. So, no, I generally just wake up at 5. If I wanna work out, then it's 4, but I have not been waking up at 4 every morning.
Was initiated from the sheriff's department.
And because on the phone call log, you see it was a call received by your phone.
That's correct.
And so you said that law enforcement told you.
LNC
police
has definitely
are on Mill
trained their
Street,
viewers
don't
that
come to
defense is just supposed
That's
to
correct.
sit there, like, with their thumb up their ends.
You testified from that the call was at 8:57 and 32 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a front moving through. Listen, y'all, I am this much closer to being able to solve all my life problems with cheesecake, like the Golden Girls, because I now have a body part, a whole leg, in fact, that tells the weather. So I know when a front is coming in. I just need to be able to solve all my problems with cheesecake now. I love this demonstrative. I also want to have
Okay, so I
good
just
handwriting
wrote
like
up
him.
here 8:57 and 32 seconds p.m. Bill told not to go to Mill Street.
You
That
live
was
in
based on your
Arizona. Is there
testimony?
even
That's
weather
correct.
other
And
than
that's
heat?
accurate based on what you've just said.
Yes.
I'm also going to write up.
And
on
you guys,
here-
I do have the add-on or plug-in in. So if the cord isn't
the
loud
timeline.
enough, I
You
can
agree
try
with that?
to.
Yes.
And that
turn up
was,
the
I think,
volume.
all from October 19th.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, Gigi. It's a crud day out here too.
I'm going to mark this timeline with an exhibit sticker, Exhibit 77. Bill, you've been here throughout the trial
You know what?
listening,
My
and you've
leg
seen
probably would approve.
me write stuff up here on Exhibit now 77.
Good deal.
Yes.
I'm glad
Is that
because I
all from what you
proud of
remember
myself.
seeing
I
and
learned how to
hearing,
work a
the
plug-in.
accurate timeline of the evening of October 19th between 8:53, 54 seconds p.m. to 10:20 and 3 seconds p.m.
Yes, that does look accurate.
So
Thank
you
you.
just testified that you were told to not go to Mill Street.
That's correct.
Where did you go?
I went parked behind 111 North Main Street.
And what did you do while you were waiting on Main Street?
Just talked to Tiffany Rose, listened to the radio, smoked cigarettes.
From East Road into Wapaka, how would you get from East Road into Wapaka?
Take East Road to Highway K,
Yeah, I do.
Take a
I
right on
really
Highway
love
K
this
and
demonstrative.
follow that up to the stoplights, and then I would take a right, and I would continue under Highway 10, follow that around past the lake, and then I would turn
Yeah, I'm
left
actually
on,
shocked that it's a split.
say, Main Street, and follow Main Street.
And it seems like with all that driving, it would take longer than less than 4 minutes.
Yes, it would take more than 4 minutes.
And so
We are all the walking.
how long would you
wounded.
say that you were just sitting and waiting on Main Street?
It seemed like forever, but I would say probably about a half hour.
And at some point, did you travel away from Main Street?
Yes. While we were waiting behind North Main Street, I ran out of cigarettes, so I drove to Walgreens,
We heard earlier today that Wapaka has one Walgreens,
the one and only on West Fulton Street.
and that's west of your property on Main
Okay.
Street.
That's correct.
But is it a
Um,
real town? Because if they have a Walgreens, do they have a CVS, cat a corner to it, or kitty corner? You know, directly across the street, just to confuse me. Because that's how you know you're in a real American Midwestern town. You got the Walgreens and the CVS, you know, facing off against each other on a four-way stop.
And what did you do at Walgreens?
I went inside and purchased cigarettes, possibly a beverage.
And when you left, what did you do?
Got in the
We have
car,
a lot of
probably smoked a cigarette, and started driving back to Main Street.
And did you see anyone when you were driving back to Main Street?
Yes, while we were driving, we noticed Tara driving.
And in what direction was Tara driving?
I believe it would be towards the east.
Okay. And you testified that you knew where Tara lived. We saw that on the map.
Yes, I've been there several times before.
Was she driving in the direction of going home?
allegedly.
Yes, that's correct.
Honestly, allegedly.
Did she make it home?
Yes, we actually
Hypothetically.
followed her and she went home. And
I'm going to show you a video. You've seen the video before, but we're going
Okay, y'all. I don't know if I need to make a trip to this town to see if everyone is always incarcerated or to take my picture in front of the one CVS. Because I feel like that is a sojourn. But also, I mean, I could buy a bug out house for that money. I'm just saying, I'm going to try to get Mr. Mo like, hey, we need a vacation house in North Florida so I can be closer to the cases I need to cover.
to show the video again. I don't know. Are you able to see that TV still?
yes.
Okay. Okay, so you can see the video that we're playing right now.
Yes.
Okay, we're just going to play it all the way through. All right. And obviously you were here when other people testified about this video, but what does that video show?
It shows what appears to be Tara's car pulling into the driveway, and then a short time
Hey,
after,
you are doing better than
me
I am.
driving my car pulling into her driveway.
And when you pulled into your driveway, we saw both vehicles go off screen.
Yes.
Why is that?
The doorbell
Docs always go
cameras
first. What can I say?
field of vision, or whatever it records, is on the front of the neighbor's house, and the driveway goes back behind the houses, back behind Tara's house, and so we had to drive, further back than the camera was.
So the driveway extends pretty far back.
Yes.
Does it go all the way sort of to the back of Tara's house?
Yeah, the garage, is back set behind the house. It's a duplex, and
Yeah.
so it's kind of like two sections, and it's kind of tucked back.
And why did you pull all the way to the back?
Well, I didn't pull all the way to the back because that's where her and the other people that live in the duplex parked. I parked behind her, but close to her door. Her door that we went in is on the backside.
Because, sir, he has watched Archer, and you need a point of ingress and egress. Are you new? And go get him his blacker black turtleneck. Dang it. One is a lighter black and one is a blacker black, damn it. It's like no one watched Archer and took out life lessons.
Of the house.
While you were there, if Tara needed to leave, would have you had to move your car?
Yes, I had the driveway pretty much blocked where my car was, and
Good
hers was in
morning.
front of mine.
You said you had been there previously.
Yes, I went there on multiple occasions, mostly to drop off or pick up Jackson.
And when you were there previously, had there been other people that were at Tara's house?
Yes.
Had you ever been parked in?
I have, and I also had parked in people, so I had to move.
That sort of a fairly common thing to happen.
I wouldn't say it happened regularly, but it was definitely a possibility, and so it did happen more than once.
And how long were you at Tara's house for?
Not very long. I don't remember exactly, but around 5 minutes.
And I see you kind of glancing at Exhibit 77 to help you.
Yeah,
And did you get a call
You
from
could not-
Officer Wazrut?
I did.
And what did Officer Wazrut call you for?
Oh, yeah.
He called and
Please
said,
do.
"Are you available to meet me right now on Main Street?" And so I said, "Yes, I am."
When you were at Tara's house, what were you talking to Tara about?
We wanted to first inform her that we had gotten this information from McKinsey about Riley and Ashton's involvement in the theft. And then we wanted to ask her if she had any other information, if she knew anything about where the animals were, if she had even heard of it.
And somebody else was home at Tara's house?
Yes, Tara's daughter.
And did her daughter's name Daisha?
That's correct.
Did Tara indicate that she had any information?
No, she said she didn't have any additional information at all.
Was she aware of the animals had been stolen?
I really honestly don't remember if she knew or not.
Can,
think-
wasn't Tara, if I've got my, family tree that circles, Tara is the mom of Ashton, the house in whom's basement, because we don't end with a preposition. They stuffed the reptiles and such. I don't think she notices and or comprehends much. Also, y'all, these rebuttal witnesses, I'm gonna need them all to be from, States Lodging, if you will.
She was aware of it.
Please.
And what
bring Tiffany
information
back.
did Daisha share with you?
Well, we had told her that we had gone on Riley's Snapchat and seen some pictures. And so she said, "Oh, I'm on Riley's Snapchat too. I can pull it up and show you what Riley had put on there."
And did she?
She did.
And what did
Oh.
you see on that Snapchat?
We saw the same photograph that has
Dear
been shown
Lord.
here that we had seen. Basically the same stuff that Tiffany Rose saw on her phone that Riley had posted.
So it sounds like it wasn't new
I
information.
feel like he is Joe Dirt, churching up Tiffany's name a whole lot, because Tiffany Rose sounds like someone, that maybe drinks boxed wine like me and sits and watches her, fun cartoons. because Tiffany Rose does not explain the woman that was on Standy yesterday.
Information that Daisha shared with you that you didn't already have.
No, it just confirmed this stuff was posted for people to see that we had already seen on his account.
So after you got the phone call, we can see that at some point you left.
Yes.
And you remember where you went?
Yeah, directly from her house to Main Street to meet with the officer.
And we don't need to play the video again because we've seen it initially when you backed out of Tara's driveway. Did you start to go the wrong way?
Yeah.
And then you pulled up to Shearer Street.
Yeah, I realized, I'm going the wrong way on a one-way, and so I turned around right away and went the right way.
Okay. And when you got to Main Street, is that where you met the police officer?
Oh, that's correct.
And we can see you met with him for some time.
Yes.
And we saw some parts of that conversation yesterday. What new information had you received from that police officer?
That officer told me that officers were at Mill Street, and he informed me that both Riley and Ashton were taken into custody, which was news to me.
Did he say why?
I think he said they had warrants for their arrest.
And did the officer tell you that Riley was going to be released?
I believe so.
Was that a concern to you?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I was worried because if they questioned him about the burglary and the theft, the animals, and then released him, there was a good chance he would go and try to destroy the evidence of the crime, which means the animals.
And at this point, did
That
you
is
have
not
any
a-
idea where the
an
animals were?
illogical lead.
No.
Were you worried about anything else with Riley being released?
Yeah, if he tried to move the animals, if he was in a hurry, could definitely make a mistake and get killed by that Gaboon Viper.
And if Riley were going to do that, how do you think he would get to wherever the animals were?
Well, I knew he'd have to get a ride, and so
Well, this
I
is
figured
actually
he would
last
probably go
night,
to
or
Tara's house to
yesterday.
see if Tara.
I kind of conked out. Look, when you get up at 4 or 5, depending on the day, 9 o'clock is like super duper late, and then you can't really just go to sleep right after a stream. So
Or Madison or someone else would give him a ride.
You said that you think possibly the officer told you that Riley was going to be released.
Yes.
Did the officer tell you when he would be released?
No, the officer didn't know. I remember he said that the county, who was investigating the theft of the animals, may hold him for questioning, and there's no way to know if that's going to take a long time or not.
And the county, you mentioned the county, so the Waupaca County Sheriff's Department.
That's correct.
And is that the same place where the jail is?
Yes.
So after you met with Officer Wasrud, we see that you called April.
I did. Yes.
Why did you call April?
I've been keeping in contact with her through the evening, and law enforcement. She was relaying messages for me, and I wanted to keep her informed that I had
Aw.
met with that officer, shared the information, and what the officer had told me.
okay, so the
Uh,
hilarious thing is that Mr. Mo will do this to me too. He's like, "Can you call so and so?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what? You're sitting right there." He's like, "Yeah, but you know all the names and numbers and everything." So I get to be like the social secretary / personal assistant to this family. So I, of course, need a personal assistant. But I'm joking because the man has 2 daggone wives, and he's still making wife number 1 do all the, social secretary stuff thing when he really should be making never mind. He had to carry new chick's ID around for her because she lost.
At some point, was
Oh,
that
God.
call interrupted?
It was.
And you still have exhibit number.
Listen, I
15
don't
up in
remember
front of you?
roads, and I've been at the same
Yes, I do.
place for 3 years.
I want you to look at the phone call
But I'm not a cop.
with April. And can you tell us how long that
That I'm
phone call
aware
is
of.
listed in duration?
I'm trying to find the call.
I believe that would be call number 4.
It says 7 minutes and 2 seconds.
And so we see that you called April at 10:10 and 43 seconds p.m.
That's
and
correct.
The duration is listed as 7 minutes.
7 minutes and 2 seconds.
But we see that you received a call from Danielle about 3 minutes later.
That's correct.
Do you know why that would appear that way?
Yes. On my cell phone, when I am on a call and another call comes in, it's the call waiting, and you can choose to ignore it or you can answer it. And when I answered the call coming in,
Talking about
it didn't hang up with the
ignoring.
first call. It just put it on hold, like a call waiting.
So the call duration was 7 minutes because April was sort of on hold while the call with Danielle was going on.
Yeah, and we never reconnected. The call ended before we talked again. But yeah,
Sounds like your marriage. You never
And when
reconnected.
your phone was ringing that it was Danielle calling, what did you
Maybe
do with the
because you
phone?
had a
I
girlfriend.
handed it to Tiffany Rose.
Why?
She knew Danielle much better than I did, and I figured she was the one that was going to talk to her, because usually when Danielle called, it was for Tiffany Rose.
Listen, y'all, with this sub thing, I just got done watching a bunch of things where I guess the CEO of the submarine was like, well, we don't want experienced naval people because, they're not inspiring. If I'm a billionaire and I got money I've got FU money, the last thing I'm doing is going down to the Titanic in a small little craft with some person who's using a game controller you know what? It's not my money. It's not my circus. They're not even my, circus elephants, but I want the crustiest, oldest submariner down there with me if I were to go.
And when you handed the phone to Tiffany, what did you do?
Like, y'all have
I started
seen me on
driving.
Periscope.
I pulled out from
want the guy that was
Main
the
Street
mechanic.
parking area spot and started driving.
And where were you driving?
I was driving back to Tara's house.
And so we saw on this map, do you remember the route that you took?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
One second.
do.
Someone's copying
And what
someone
route was
else.
that?
And
I would pull out and drive on Main Street to the stoplight at Main and Badger, and I would take a left, and I would drive down Badger Street, which turns into School Street, and I would take School Street to Van Street, and then I would turn onto Van Street.
Okay, so you started at this green dot and drove south on Main Street,
That's correct?
and then you said you drove onto Badger,
Yes,
and that turns into School Street.
yes,
And so that would be the way that you would take to get to Tara's house.
correct.
And why were you driving back to Tara's house?
A number of reasons. One, we told her that as soon as we were done meeting with the officers, we would return, because we had only been there a short time. Our conversation was interrupted by the phone call, so I said, we'll be back. And so that was the plan. And then also, I was concerned that maybe she had some new information, because if she had talked to anybody involved, like her daughter Mackenzie, maybe someone found out more information about where the animals were. And
stay
I
out
wanted
of
to
the
see if she knew anything.
ocean.
And
If
we saw
Jaws
that you
taught
had
us
been meeting with
anything-
that officer on Main Street for about 20 minutes.
That's correct.
On your way, do you know who Tiffany was talking to during that
Hells
phone?
yes. I want someone who
I knew she started talking with Danielle, because that's who called, and I could tell that's who she was talking to. But then I know it turned into like a three-way
I'm
call
not going in.
where she was speaking more with Ashton's mother. I think Angela's her name.
And what do you remember Angela saying?
Okay, now I remember. Angela was the one
I
with
know
26
she said that she
convictions.
had the animals, and they were in
As,
her basement.
You do.
So we were really excited that they were located. We found out that she had them.
And did she give you her address?
Yeah, she did.
And were you able to write down the address?
No, not at all. I was still driving.
And do you
So
remember
did you have your
where,
mom's wife write it
if you were
down?
driving
Come on,
from
dude. You have
Main
two
to
wives.
Badger to School Street to Van, do you
You have
remember
two
at
social
what
secretaries.
point in this drive that you found out the address to Angela?
I can't say for sure. I know I was driving, but we were pretty close to Tara's house already.
So would you say you were close to Van Street?
Yes.
While you were driving down School Street, did you see anybody?
Yes.
Do you know who you saw?
I saw someone walking that I thought could be Riley.
And why did you think it could be Riley?
I know I still like him.
Just because, I'd spent so much time with
David, my worry is that I'm going to want to I'm not going to want to sit through cross because they're going to let librarian lady do it. I just know it. And she's going to annoy the ever living snot out of me. That's going to be the hardest part of trial. It's when I've decided I like the defendant and then I have to listen to cross. And I'm like, and like, I can deal
I
when
knew,
the
kind of
prosecutor's
his,
just asking questions, but she's just
I
a
don't know if you'd call it gestures or
mugly
the way he
puss.
handled himself, the way he walked, it just kind of resembled Riley.
Did you know it was Riley?
I couldn't be certain because it was very dark and it was a little further away, but I thought it was.
I still love his, I was told to smile.
Bill, I'm going to hand you what's been marked Exhibit 78.
Like,
I want you to take a look at that. Can you identify that?
It looks like a picture of School Street at the intersection of Ann Street,
okay, those
looking
glasses,
down School Street.
sir.
And does that look to be fair and accurate
you all
how
to
School
explain
Street
or
would
rate
appear
those.
at that intersection of School and Van Street?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked Exhibit 79. That just an enlarged photo of Exhibit
Seriously,
78.
I'm telling you
Yes.
guys,
And these are both fair and accurate of how that intersection.
there is a reason the Lord will not grant me the lottery, mostly because I don't want to be that jackbutt person that's in the gas station making everybody wait, so I don't play the lottery. But if I won, my first step would be to buy out, well, it would be to buy a new house. I would take only the things we need from this house or the things I want. I would donate this particular house, and I may or may not buy out the mortgage of my truly most heinous neighbors and force them out of their house, possibly, allegedly. So there's a reason God doesn't grant me any sort of lottery winnings. Good morning, David. I'm over here
I
realizing
don't know why I
didn't put
can't
this.
hear anything.
Well, I paused it. Let me.
Oh
you
no
hear
no
some-
no no no! It was my end was being weird.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Good
no,
morning.
I used the extension.
Now, obviously,
key.
this picture
I
was
learned
taken
it. I
during the
learned the
day,
thing.
but you were driving at night.
That's correct.
Harder to see all the details than it is in this picture.
Yes.
I'm gonna hand
Well,
you this
pledged,
marker,
of course, Luna.
and on
Everything is
Exhibit
allegedly
78,
pledged if I win the
can you
lottery.
draw a little stick figure where you saw the person you thought could be Riley?
Does he have bad
If I could
teeth?
try to do
Someone said that.
There's a really
Does he
skinny
have
end
what?
of that Sharpie I just
Bad
handed.
teeth.
You know, I guess I
Jamie
wasn't
said
paying
bad
attention
teeth.
to his. I wasn't paying attention to his teeth. I just like the kind of like, oh crap! I was told to smile.
Oh okay.
That thing. So I guess I haven't focused on his teeth. I've just been focusing on that, like, oh shit, I was supposed to smile, wasn't I? Okay, well,
We'll keep an eye out for his teeth.
of course, library lady's always big mad.
Sorry, I'm not very good at
Teeth
drawing
is
stick
his-
people.
I'm gonna get that exhibit back from you.
Oh, those glasses do not do him
Now, are
any
you still able to
favors.
see Exhibit 79?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at your marking on Exhibit 78, and it appears that you drew Riley sort of right almost next to this electrical pole.
That's correct. He would have been on the sidewalk there.
It's almost
I
look,
like this demonstrative.
And did you see where
I'm
I
in love
drew
with
a
the
little stick figure?
demonstrative.
Yes.
Is
I
that
like that,
the
but
same
I just
location that you
I
drew
can
it on
see where
Exhibit
having the
78?
tablet and they
Yes.
can just
So
draw
that's where
an
you
X
saw
on it
Somebody walking,
could be
Correct.
helpful.
and you were driving with your headlights
This
on.
is old school
Yes.
trial work. I love it.
Was this far down
That's-
fully
Can we
illuminated
see
by
if
your
we can
headlights?
buy
Well,
the stick figure
It
picture?
was kind of on the edge of the.
Like, what does the court do
beamed,
with these
range.
exhibits once
Is
they're
that what
done?
made it hard to identify who that person was?
Well, I wasn't 100% sure who it was, but it was enough light to say, I think that's Riley.
And after you saw this
John
person you
Kerry
thought to be
with
Riley,
his
what did
Hunger
you?
Games down there.
I asked Tiffany Rose, I said, is that Riley? And I was surprised. I thought to myself, that can't be Riley. He's in custody. But then I thought, it looks like him.
But you testified that you thought, or the officer told you Riley might be released
That's correct.
or would be released.
That's correct.
But you were still surprised that might have been Riley.
Yeah, because I had just got done meeting with the officer. And in my mind, I thought if he had been placed into custody and questioned about the burglaries, it would probably take longer than that.
You didn't expect to see him so quickly.
No, not at all. I figured he would still be, in the
So,
process of being questioned.
David, do they generally not allow demonstratives in as evidence?
So demonstrative is not actually evidence. It is only there to assist the jury in understanding the evidence that's admitted, such as the witness's statements. Everyone misunderstands too. A witness's statements is evidence. So if you're taking the witness's statements and you're writing it down on a piece of paper and you stick it up on the wall, the writing of down and sticking on wall is demonstrative. It's not the actual evidence, it's just organizing it. And yes, courts love demonstrative as long as it's not excessive, more confusing than not, and things like that. But yeah, no, I've never had demonstrative not be allowed, I guess.
Okay. Well, I guess these people have watched ahead.
They're possibly not released yet.
He looks like he has all his
At some
teeth.
point, did you turn
good
down Van
dentures.
Street?
Yes, I
I
did.
sent you a tweet, by the way.
Oh, I know. I saw.
Because I was going to Tara's house, and that's the way to go.
That's
Riley.
how I would draw all my.
Yeah,
That's how I
Riley.
would
If you
draw all
knew
my stick figures.
Where the animals were, why did you still turn down Van Street?
Well, we were getting the address, finding out where the animals were, and then I was already almost there to Tara's house, and I saw what I thought might be Riley. I thought if he's in
Yes, you can, Salvador.
close proximity.
Well, yeah, because didn't the prosecution in the Brooks case had that demonstrative of the Main Street where all the people were hit,
Yeah.
where the fatalities were.
Yeah, and as long as the problem you run into sometimes when you prepare it ahead of time is that the testimony and the evidence won't actually then line up with it, and then you're kind of stuck with the demonstrative that doesn't work, and there could be objections to that because it's demonstrative of evidence that's not in evidence. So sometimes you run that risk. But think of a PowerPoint presentation that's presented during opening statements. That's demonstrative. That's prepared ahead of time, obviously. So yes, you can. Does that make sense?
Yes.
He wants to go and move, destroy, let loose the animals. He's probably going to go to Tara's to try to find a ride. And I wanted to make sure that didn't happen, so I was going to run in and ask her quick, don't give him a ride.
And you testified earlier about how many animals were missing.
Yes.
Approximately how long do you think it would have taken to get those animals out of Angela's house?
It's hard to say. I've never been there, but I was told they were in a basement, which means, carrying them up the stairs, getting them out the house, getting them into the vehicle while keeping them warm. So, I mean, a minimum of a half hour.
And were you afraid Riley might show up there?
Exactly. That was my concern, that if he got a ride out there while I was trying to pick up the animals, I wouldn't be able to get them home safely.
Why didn't you just call Tara?
Well, Tiffany Rose was on my phone, so I couldn't call. And I was right around the corner, so it was actually quicker to just stop. And I don't even know if I have Tara's phone number, to be honest.
You said that Tiffany was still on the phone.
Yeah, she was still talking with Angela while I was turning on Van Street.
And is that supported by the timeline that we have seen?
Yes, it is. It shows that I parked in front of Tara's house prior to the call with Daniel ending.
And all these times you were accurate as far as we all heard, right?
Yeah, it sounds like before you wrote them down, you established they were accurate.
And so we saw on camera that you parked in front of Tara's house at 10/17/26.
Yes, I see
Correct.
And that
the
phone
evidence
call
sticker.
with Danielle didn't end until almost 20
Oh, they
seconds
do have
later.
an evidence sticker on
That's
it.
correct.
Okay. And that's
I know y'all are going to be shocked and Twitter-pated, but when I'm running the stream, making sure I have the banners up, making sure I have this done, and trying to keep up with our degenerate chat, I may miss a thing or two.
Yeah, there is an evidence sticker on it, which is interesting. Because okay, so what is evidence, right? Evidence is something. It's a statement, it's a document, it's a photograph, it's something that proves a material fact or tends to prove a material fact that's at issue in this case. That board right there, what does it do? It's the lawyer's handwriting on the board. That doesn't prove a material element of the case, right? So why is that? That's not actual evidence. It's only demonstrative. Why it has an evidence sticker, I have no idea. Maybe they're tagging it because they separate out demonstrative somehow and it's part of the record for maybe appellate purposes, but it's not actual evidence.
Because no one says no to Joni and Chachi, Scott Baio. No one does it. He says we're going to put it in, and it goes into evidence. I do not know that.
What's
So
that?
when it goes into deliberation, do they have access to the demonstratives or only the evidence per
It, de-
se?
it depends. Usually they wouldn't have access to the demonstrative, but every court's different. So I don't know what they would do in Wisconsin. This is Wisconsin, right? So apparently everything gets in Wisconsin. So probably why not?
And then it said, yeah, so maybe they stipulated to it, and that's
Oh,
why,
they can absolutely stipulate to it. And there could be times where demonstrative is created by both parties, where both parties have a board and they're writing down timelines or whatever, and they stipulate to it. That could be. And if it's stipulated to, first of all, well, I don't know if it's done by the state to stipulate to this because this is still defense demonstrative. But if the state says, I'm going to argue within that timeline anyways, and I'm cool with it, let's stipulate to it. Absolutely. Then it could be admitted as evidence.
and then yeah, someone was pointing out, yeah, Salvador, in Rittenhouse, Richard actually had the state medical examiner draw a diagram showing Rosenbaum wasn't shot in the back, had him sign and date it and put it in as evidence.
That's different than demonstrative. First of all, it was an expert and it was a diagram of a shooting trajectory. So that's actually part of the material evidence at issue. Whereas this is just a compilation of statements and times. Let's see. If it was in a document, it would be one thing, but he could just made up some shit. I guess he tries to make it. Let's see. By having a witnesses saying yes, that is what happened. Are you talking about the demonstrative that we're discussing right now, or are you talking about
I
Rittenhouse?
think so. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah,
Fedorowski,
it's
get
tough when they jump back and forth. The document by camera or whatever, like documented by cameras.
oh, well, I think he's taking the timestamps directly from the videos, having whoever is up when the video is being played agree that that is the timestamp, and then he writes it down.
That's what I haven't watched the whole trial, but that's what I remember. Well, also the first one I believe was a text message, right? Bill on his way.
Yeah.
That was a text message. So he's taking it from various sources, and that's how demonstrative works. Is you take like, all right, this time there was a text saying he's on his way. Let's put that down, and then we see a
Okay.
timestamp on a video.
He was talking about this particular timestamp, but I think he is taking it all from documented either reports or videos.
Yeah.
Or even phone call cell things.
Yeah, and it would be maybe even better if it had a third column that said this was from the text message. Remember, guys, and this was the timestamp from the camera. Remember that? But he doesn't have a third column, so he's just putting down
Listen,
the
he only
information.
has 2 different colored permanent markers. He's married. I'm sure he has young kids. Permanent markers are not allowed in my house. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Even if you had Tara's number, it sounds like you couldn't have called it.
That's right. Yeah, my phone was already being used, and I was driving.
Why didn't
Okay,
you
the
wait and call
mouthwash
the
thing with the
police?
water does bother me.
Well, we were going to call police, but Angela specifically said, don't call the police. I don't want them to come out here again.
Is this
So
he
you
testified to
pulled
that
up
yesterday?
in front of Tara's house. You parked in front of Tara's house.
Well, this is the end part of yesterday's testimony.
Okay,
I
because I
didn't
heard those
get
exact words yesterday, so I didn't know if that was like, "Ooh, asked and answered," maybe an objection to, or if you're
well,
replaying something.
no. So, yeah, if you get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, 9 to 10 o'clock is like and then you have to factor in another hour where you're still in everyone else's stream or trying to calm down. I was like, "I don't do I'm not okay, y'all need to worry about
Now I'm ignoring the chat for the moment. Hey, Baker. Good morning,
Hey, Baker,
or
hope you're
afternoon,
feeling
or evening
better
to you.
and hope you got a good seat at your daughter's graduation." It that very well could be ill-fitting
Yes.
What
dentures.
did you do?
I parked in front of her house so I could quickly run in and ask her to not give Riley a ride and let her know we had found the location of the animals. So that was my plan, to get out and go to her door.
Earlier, when you went to Tara's house, you parked in her driveway.
Yes.
Why didn't you do that at that time?
Well, when we first pulled in and followed her in, we were planning on staying more than just a brief moment. And we didn't know how long we'd be there, and there was no urgency. And this time, I wasn't planning on staying. I just wanted a quick run, tell her don't give Riley a ride if he comes and asks for one, because we're going out to retrieve the animals we found out where they are. And I was going to run back to the car and then quick turn right there and be back on the route to where we were going to get the animals.
We saw that on the map that if you were parked straight, you could have just quick turned on the Shearer and then right back to school.
Exactly.
And from Tara's house, how would you get to Wyligo?
I'd just turn left on Shearer, which would take me right back to school. And then I could take School Street to Churchill Street, and then Churchill Street would run me right out to Highway 10.
And then you could just take Highway 10 out to Wyligo.
Correct.
When you parked the car, what did you do?
I parked the car, put on the parking brake, and opened my door.
Was Tiffany still on the phone?
I think she was probably just ending the call at that time when we were getting out of the car.
And you mentioned when we were getting out of the car. Did Tiffany get out of the car as well?
Yes, she did.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked exhibits 19, 20, 21, and 22. Do you recognize those exhibits?
Yes, it looks like pictures
I was
of Van
muted.
Street.
I'm
And
curious to see how he responds to the
testified you've
questions
been
about
to
the
Tara's
actual
house many-
shooting. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean oh, did he not get into it on this day? So it'll be this morning.
It's this morning.
When-
Yeah, that's what I'm really curious about.
I also have starred that you wanted to talk about blood alcohol numbers at some point. When the
Okay, so no, yeah, so they were talking about yesterday on your stream. There was testimony regarding the BAC for the defendant, right?
yeah.
This is the thing I hate about the state. All right, so and I guarantee in almost every state, but definitely in Michigan, in most states, if you are pulled over and arrested for DUI, and they take your breathalyzer at the station or do a blood draw. It could be an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours later that they do it, right? Depending on if they need a warrant or anything. Whatever that BAC is, 3 hours later or 2 hours later or an hour later, they're going to assume that that is the level of alcohol in your system at the time you were driving. So in theory, and it happens, it's happened at times where people were like take a couple of shots and then drive home, and then the alcohol is building up in their system, and so by the time they get tested, it's way higher than it was when they were driving, right? So that's the issue that the Supreme Court has addressed.
Oh, okay.
So the Supreme Court has said whatever the alcohol level is tested at, even if it's 2 hours later, we can presume it was the alcohol content at the time that he was operating the vehicle, right? So the states use that all the time. And in this case, they want to use the opposite, right? They're like,
Yeah.
well, okay, we understand his alcohol level was 0, but we're going to say because at the time he could have been drunk still because enough time had passed. That's what was pissing me off. That's why I said it was BS, because they want their cake and to eat it too. So, anyways,
I
that was my
basically
little
thought
rant.
it was discrimination because they made that woman math on stage, and I was like, that is just mean.
No. It was just that the state that very prosecutor will use the exact opposite argument in her favor if it was a DUI case.
Of
That was
course.
what was making me mad. Is that she was using the opposite argument that she makes every single day in any other case.
Of course. Are we shocked?
I wanted to point that out to you guys so you know what was going on there.
Because
Sorry,
that's
rant
how you're able
over.
to tell that that's Van Street.
Yes,
And obviously, those photos were taken during the day.
yes.
Do you believe you could recognize Van Street at night?
Probably.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up two pictures. This was on exhibit 25. They will be on a different exhibit. Can you see the picture that I just pulled up on the screen?
It's very dark, but yes.
And what does that picture appear to be to you?
It looks like facing down Van Street towards School Street.
And why do you believe that to be the case?
Just based on the
People have tried all
The
kinds
layout-
of things. People have tried all kinds of things, like drinking at the scene. So when you roll up, you're currently drinking, and you're making the argument that, well, yeah, I was drinking after the accident. I had a defense once where a woman was literally on the side of the road sleeping, and next to her was a big bottle of something or other. And I said, well, she parked and then drank because she was parked in a vacant lot and she was just depressed and drank by herself. But the question really comes down at the end of the day is, will the jury believe you?
Well, I don't know. This jury, it just hits me so funny that they wanted to start deliberating in between directing cross of the first witness. Like, we're already bored. And the judge
the
is
road
big
and the
time
house
bored.
front that I can see.
He was falling
And are you
asleep
comparing it to
yesterday.
one of the exhibits you have in front of you of Van Street during the day?
Yes, it looks very similar.
And is there some
teeth aren't
feature in this photo in the dark that's
No.
also visible in those exhibits in front of you?
There's the car.
And anything else?
Well, there's
Did they believe you about how she just went to park and drink as you do?
Okay, so here's the thing. When you are on trial for a DUI and you have an ankle monitor, blood alcohol ankle monitor, because you have violated your bond to the point that you've been thrown in jail
Oh.
and then ankle monitored, don't wear a little short skirt so that your ankle monitor can be seen by the entire jury when you walk up to the witness stand. Yeah. They did not believe, they believed me. They did not believe my client.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't. What was that journal or notebook that I don't know if it was Young Melly or I can't keep.
Yeah. I
And
saw
it's
that.
like totally not, classified evidence or something.
a light on the front of that house, and it illuminates the front of that house enough that I can see it.
And that appears to be the same house. You're referring to the one on the left in this dark picture?
Yeah, that's correct.
And that's the same house that you can see in those pictures during the day.
That's correct.
So this is a
Morning,
fair and
Josie.
accurate depiction of how Van Street looks at night.
Yes.
I'm going
Probably.
to show you another picture.
She was probably drunk at the trial.
And can you identify what this picture might be?
She
That
was
looks like Van
method
Street
acting, David.
facing the other direction.
So Van Street facing Shearer.
Correct.
And what makes you believe that that's Van Street?
That's a thing. I mean, I guess it would be a thing. I just never thought about trying to bicycle while drunk. I can barely bicycle while sober.
So I have an issue with operating a motor vehicle under the influence and being charged for cyclists because it's not a motor vehicle. What we have an issue with in Michigan is the electric vehicles. That's technically a motorized vehicle. So if you're operating that drunk, that's a problem. If you're pedaling, you're just basically public intoxicated.
Dang it, they get you either way. You're just publicly intoxicated.
All right.
Y'all, I guess I've just been sheltered in my life. I never thought to operate a bicycle while hammered.
And
Again,
people operate
uh,
lawnmowers.
it looks like the house on the right side has a light on.
There's a guy who's lost his license, and his son drives him around on a lawnmower. He sits in the wagon towed behind it. I see him
I need
heading into town.
I need a picture, and we need to put it in Discord.
I've taken several pictures. I'll find one and send it to you.
Well, yeah, I understand. Again, that's the part where, as a layperson, I know that we have to be pedantic and such and say, like, it was nighttime, so the lights were on and it was dark. But as a layperson, it's kind of like, are we getting to a point at any point?
Front in the car under the streetlight.
And that appears to be the same that was in the other picture.
Correct.
And the house that we can see in this dark photo on the very right-hand side, the one with the light on, that's the one we saw with the light on in the other picture.
It appears that way.
And
He smiles at
that's
weird
a
times.
fair depiction of
He
how
does.
Van Street.
It is that like, oh
I'm
crap, I was
No, I'm just sorry to keep interrupting. He just smiles
Oh,
at
no.
odd times.
No, it really is. It's like he's doing his carefully thought out response, and then he's like, "Oh shit, I was supposed to smile." But then he doesn't hold it. He's like,
Yeah, that's the lamp. I don't know. It's just weird.
it is. I think it's a facial like tick for
would have
him.
appeared
He seems very
when you were there.
still like
or
him.
Oh yeah, he's
10,
endearingly
17
awkward.
p.m. on October 19th.
Listen,
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Have you been on Van Street in the dark in the fall before?
Yes.
Is this how Van Street appears in the dark during fall?
Yes.
Can you tell anything about this photo?
It's very, very dark.
Okay. Are you able to see it at all?
I see one light speck.
Okay.
That's
And that's okay. We don't need to address that photo.
I can see more on this screen actually than that screen.
Okay.
Where it looks like I can see there's a street, but now I can't even see that.
Okay. So we'll go put the first photo back up.
Baker.
It will be on whatever new thumbnail exhibit. Those were during the day.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah.
With the extra.
He's grown on me more.
Mads, I like this guy. I mean, he looked weird sitting at the defense table, but as soon as he opened his mouth, I immediately
And
liked
both
him.
of these dark photos of Van Street at night, for the record, will be on Exhibit 80, and they will be titled Image 226 and Image 232.
I like that he has his own
Now,
tech
Bill,
secretary
looking
there.
at the exhibits you have in front of
Baby
you,
lawyer.
there's 4 separate exhibits,
This is
Yes.
paralegal.
and they're actually 2 different photographs, though, right?
It looks like 2 different photographs and then 2 copies of each.
And those are of Van Street during the day.
Yes.
Does he look like the Men in Black guy whose head is shot off and then it grows back? It's almost like a
Yeah.
little too small for his body at that moment.
Yes.
Still growing
I-
back.
Okay, so David, here's a legal question for you. I'm guessing he has renal failure due to my Google mathing and doctoring.
That's not a
With
legal
that,
question.
well, yeah, but with that kind of thing, you would be on pain medications because it's fairly painful to have your legs swell and back up with fluid. Now, would he have to forego his pain medicine the days that he's testifying because you're supposed to be not under the influence? That's my
Well, so the
lawyer
question is, so the question is he under the influence? Is he able to actually comprehend the questions and answer them and recall information? So you could like, okay, so this thing too, it's not illegal to drink and drive. It's illegal to be drunk and driving, right? Or over a certain limit. So he could have an Advil or 2. He could even have, more stronger pain medications.
Okay.
The question is can he cognitively function at this moment in time?
Well, he has his friend Barney Gumble in the back. He's been there every day.
Yeah, I saw him there every day. He must be a friend.
I'm going to start with Exhibit
Same.
20.
Not that one.
Oh, we'll start with 23. And that matches what exhibit of yours?
This guy doesn't get
It
flustered.
looks like
I'd have
21 and
been like,
22.
But he's not looking at the jury when he smiles. He's looking at the evidence, which is the weird thing.
Look, Sal and I were talking. I think he's on the spectrum.
I'm showing you
A lot
what's
of
been marked
so
exhibit.
a lot of the people, as I've been looking into it, that are kind of in the reptile community, because they have are what you would say a bit socially awkward. So, m- I don't. Again, I don't know how this guy got two women. I mean, they're both beige, but I can't.
81, does that appear to be the same picture
There's a
as exhibit
chance for
23?
everyone.
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked exhibit 82. Does that appear to be the same photograph as exhibit 24?
Yes.
After you parked on Van Street, you said you started to get out of the vehicle.
Yes.
What happened when you got out of the vehicle?
I started heading towards Tara's house. I got out and started walking past my car to her driveway.
And in exhibit 24, we can see a black car parked on the road.
Yes.
I meant
Is
it
that
with love,
approximately where you
Salvador.
would have parked your
but-
vehicle?
Yes, it looks to be about
As
the
I've
same
been
spot.
watching videos
Because
of
this
the
is
reptile
Joseph
community,
Brown's house,
trying to get background information on
The
this
house next to
case,
Tara's house, yes.
the house with the camera on it.
Yes.
they don't
And
seem
so this
to
vehicle
be as
parked
good with the
here
people in.
is right where about your vehicle would have been.
Yes, and then Tara's driveway is right behind it.
And if we're looking at exhibit 23, would this be if you were standing sort of behind your vehicle?
Yeah, that's correct.
And whose driveway is this?
That'd be Tara's driveway.
And so this would be facing towards School Street on Van, right next to Tara's driveway.
Yes, that's correct.
You testified that you got out of your car and you started to walk towards Tara's driveway.
Yes.
What happened?
Okay,
Before I got far,
I just listen. He seems like a great listener, and maybe that's how he got women. He definitely, he seems like a close talker, and I have issues with close talker. David, you have a question. Have you ever advised your clients to take the stand rather than not take the stand, or vice versa?
I hate putting clients on the stand, in criminal cases, anyways. But sometimes, so here's the situation: you don't put your client on the stand unless you absolutely have to. If you can get the evidence out in any other way, don't put your client on the stand. But sometimes you can't, especially in self-defense cases. You really can't not put your client on the stand, so you got to work with them. Whereas I saw someone in Zach Anderson. Maybe it would have been better if he took stand. He didn't need to. He got all the information out. It was good information. It was a good defense in Zach Anderson. It was a jury making a stupid decision, but and some other things. But he didn't need to take the stand. So you don't want to put your defendant on the stand because you just open it. It's too much risk.
Okay, Fedorowski, point taken. He seems a little socially awkward to me. That's my read on it. And that might be that he is, nervous out of his gourd right now. I mean, he's looking at a fairly long sentence. So maybe this is just how he acts when he is super duper nervous. And if I went because once he got talking, I did like this lawyer's strategy that he got him talking first about the animals. He got him comfortable up there, asked him some kind of teaching sort of questions to where, he could teach the jury about a couple things to kind of get him in his element. So I really think the lawyer did a good job with that, because now he's much more relaxed than when he first got up there.
Yeah, a lot of people
Point
are
taken, Fed.
socially awkward.
I saw someone running around the corner
That's why we do
onto Van
YouTube.
Street.
Running from what corner?
From the School Street and around from the School Street sidewalk onto Van Street.
And how do you know it was somebody running?
I could see and hear someone running around the corner.
Were you able to see where that person was?
Yes.
Because in real life, it's a little easier to see than the dark photo we have up on the big screen.
Yes.
But that's still how dark it was.
Wow, no outside lighting
Yes.
for that street.
And who did you see?
It turns out it was Riley.
How do you know it was Riley?
I had an idea it might be him based on seeing him coming down School Street, but then I knew for sure it was him when he started yelling at me.
What was he yelling?
He was on, "I'm going to get you, motherfucker. I'm going to beat your ass." He's like, "Come fight me like a man."
And you know Riley's voice?
Yeah, I do very well.
So is it at that point you knew that it was Riley?
I did. When he was yelling at me, I knew it was him.
And so I'm going to hand you this marker on Exhibit 20 and 22. I'd like you to mark, if you could, where you saw Riley as you got out of
You
your
are
car
doing
and
a good
approached where it
job,
was Riley.
Salvador.
When I first saw him,
Yes.
It's
Oh.
hard to get used to. You'll get in your
Well, I said yesterday in Discord, I said, just talk to yourself and entertain yourself. And if you can entertain yourself, others will kind of find it entertaining. Just
I
entertain
find me
yourself.
hilarious, but I also don't have to take me into Lowe's. That's Mr. Moe's job. And y'all, Mr. Moe said yes to my cabinet whiteboard / corkboard. So we will be picking that up Monday this coming week. So I was being all nice wife and, didn't bring him on a project without informing him that he was going to get a project.
What exhibit is that he's marking?
20 and 22. Bill, you just marked on Exhibit 20 and 22 where you saw Riley when you first got out of your vehicle
yes,
as you were approaching Tara's driveway.
correct.
And
He said, die,
Certainly
MFer, die.
this angle is a little bit easier
Yeah.
to gauge distance
Yeah,
That's a Gravely quote.
than straight down.
correct.
Well, the problem the state is going to run into is, okay, if you have an intelligent jury who's been listening, Riley was, charged with the theft. Bill knows that he stole several firearms. He's coming aggressively at him, and he was middling levels methed up. So,
The victim was methed up.
yeah, but the
Methoded up.
Yeah, the medical examiner said, "Look, it wasn't the highest meth I've ever seen, and it wasn't the lowest. It was middling," which I have never heard of someone's, intoxication level being middling.
That's a scientific term, I believe.
Yeah, and it's also come out that Bill didn't have anything in his system, and he has all of this foreknowledge. He also has the knowledge of a police officer of how quickly, 30 feet becomes he's up in your face in a fight area. So he's gotten all of this out with his testimony.
And I will
I-
say too, someone said in the chat that a Google image would have been better. They would have liked that better. I think the reason why they're using these images is because you can see where the person would be. You get that 3D that distance, right? You can
Yeah,
perceive
and
that
honestly, you can see how the blind spots are coming. So if Riley was running up on a corner, I mean, it's a dark night, and the evening pictures really show how very dark and desolate it would seem. I mean,
better. Yeah, mid-range. That's kind of what I was getting at. Like that would kill me.
yeah. I think, yeah. So, and they had a narcotics officer come in, I think was maybe the first or second witness that said, look, a person on the method acting stuff would be aggressive, impervious to pain, more likely to be impulsive, things like that. So I think this defense has been great. And for Law and C-Word, for half of their audience, according to John Gray, or John Gary, sorry, saying that they believed this particular defendant when usually Law and C-Word is always pro-state. Yeah, he was the one nice one. Yeah, the state was like, "But you've seen people on the method acting that, don't exhibit these behaviors, right?"
That reminds me of Arrested Development. The method
Yeah.
acting, the methadone clinic where you went to go do method acting classes. No.
That I haven't seen that one. I know all the animated movies though.
Which exhibit was easier?
Exhibit 20 and 24. And so, Bill, I don't know if you can see, was Riley in the road?
Yes.
And it looks like on exhibit 20, which matches exhibit 24, you saw him sort of just after these garbage cans on the side of the road.
Yes.
I just placed a red mark on exhibit 24 where you have put a black mark on exhibit 20. Does that appear to be in the same location on exhibit 24 that you indicated on exhibit 20?
Yes, it does.
All right, guys, I have a hard stop in about 10 minutes because I have to go to my lovely doctor. Woohoo!
Oh,
So
that
this
was
is
going to be
where
my
you
hard
first
stop. So
saw
cool.
Riley?
Yes.
Double hard stops. Oh no, his handwriting, his beautiful lawyer handwriting.
So I just wrote on exhibit number 24, first saw Riley on van.
Mhm. That's accurate.
And that's accurate based on what you just said?
Yes.
You still have, I'm going to give you these two exhibits.
Actually, guys, I am going to probably get off now. And I know phrasing. I've already heard you, Salvador, in my head phrasing.
I'm good with the
So,
phrasing. I'm good with it.
well, when we come back, we'll finish this little bit, and then I'll try to kind of go at 1.25 speed for the rest of the day, and hopefully we will get to closings. The state is saying from people that are actually on this particular time that the state might have 4 rebuttal witnesses. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to gear myself up for listening to Lunch Lady Marge. Ex, you know,
When are you coming back, Mo? Everyone wants to know.
so I should be. He's low. I'd say 11ish
Okay, cool. I'll
or
go.
or
I'll
tw-
go live
or
at
noonish.
11:30.
Y'all, there is no eh, streams are going to happen at the same time. I am trying to stay on the schedule that I told you guys, in theory, but streams are just going to happen when they happen sometimes.
I'm not going
So
live today. I got
that's
too much to do. I'm gonna pop in on some other streams though, maybe, but I'm not going live
sounds
myself.
good. Yeah, get your sleep in, get your errands run, and then we will come back to this trial. I-
Farrell, Mo doesn't know what time zone she's in. She doesn't know. So
No, I learned. Jamie told me because look, I am like Rain Man. Ask me a certain question about any other topic, I can know something. But I am in Eastern. See, Indiana abstained from the shenanigans that is daylight
wait,
savings
you say
time for years.
Indiana, what city? Because Indiana
Martinsville.
is okay. What big
So
city?
Central Southern did not.
Yeah,
We were
because
like, no,
Indiana has like 4 different time zones right now.
because it is nearly 10 o'clock in my time zone. But
So
I
you're
learned
Eastern.
Jamie told me I was Eastern.
Yeah.
Look, I crowdsource answers. Y'all, I am not the smartest person.
Well, we're gonna use circumstantial reasoning here. I am in Eastern. I know that for certain, and it's daylight savings time, and it is 3 minutes to 10 a.m. So that would then, through circumstantial reasoning, conclude that Mo is also in Eastern and recognizing daylight savings time, although she could be in Central and not recognizing daylight savings time.
Look, y'all, the world would be much better if we just went to not daylight savings time. Unfortunately, trains have to run. They get all pissed off about the timelines too. All right, you guys.
Bye. Are
Back,
we gone?
yeah, y'all,
Well, you should
I am
come.
a mother of 6 with doctor's appointments. Doctor is never on time. I am giving you I will be back at noon, people, noon. Hard stop noon. I'll see you guys later. Have a good night or day. You know what time it is.
Bye.
Bye.